Welcome to the IVM Podcast Network.
Hey, welcome to Geek Fruit Retcon, where we travel back in time to a previous episode from our inglorious history on the Geek Fruit Podcast. Happy listening, you nerds.
Hi and welcome. You're listening to...
Me, Tejas.
You're listening to Geek Fruit with me, Tejas, and Jishnu. Hi, Jishnu.
Hey, Tejas.
New episode today. We're talking about Gotham. Straight into it, man. Not really. We're going to talk about Gotham in a bit. But we've been planning, as we were discussing earlier, to do this episode for quite a few weeks. Actually, the season, when did it get over?
It got over about a month ago.
Month ago?
Yeah.
Okay, so not that bad.
Yeah,
All right.
Yeah.
So it got over a month ago, and I don't think I had watched... I didn't watch even... maybe 2 episodes of the entire season. I just started watching it when it came out in October.
When did you finish the first episode, the first season, in accordance to when it finished?
I went according to the the schedule.
So we've touched on Gotham a bunch of times because I've been on top of it for the most part. I sort of fizzled out after about 16 episodes of the second season. So I got through the majority of the second season, then I was on pause for about 2 months or so. We've touched on it a bunch of times, and it's always been something that I wanted to talk about. But now, since the season just ended, and there are 44 episodes of this thing out there, it's worth...
I feel like it's earned its spot as a full topic, for an episode of any review show. But man, there's a lot happening in it, and we're going to discuss it obviously in detail. But before that, there's a lot of other things that have happened in the world of geek and nerd stuff.
The last 2 weeks have been packed with live streams and video... tiny clips, segments between Star Wars Celebration in Europe and London, and with STCC happening as we speak right now, where it's only about 2 or 3 days in. By the time this episode's out, the whole thing will be available to you, I'm sure.
How many days does Comic-Con go on for?
I think it's 4 days. I think it's 21st to the 24th. I could be wrong, but something around that. So about 4-ish days, I think.
And then they have one preview night
exactly.
and all that stuff.
So it's a week, all things considered, it's a week. All things considered, it's a week.
Which is awesome, man. Wow. That's crazy.
I think it's a bit much. But then again, there is a lot.
It's a lot.
There's so much to go through.
It's almost like going for a music festival. I can still see, because all the main panels at Star Wars Celebration, you can catch up on them. Like if you do a whole day, there'll be maybe 8-9 panels, and you can catch a majority of them.
Yeah.
But for San Diego Comic-Con, it's the biggest Comic-Con in the whole world, and the original one. So it's gonna be they're like, I was just going through day 1 of the panels, and they're just infinite.
Yeah.
It's literally infinite. And, it doesn't just range in, to comic books or movies or television. There's, other things. There's, VR, and there's, AR, and then there's, there's a bunch of stuff which is just not, which you wouldn't, you wouldn't consider to be in the gamut of just that, And we also just had E3, and there's still more games being introduced here. There's still more Star Wars stuff which is being done here. So it's crazy.
The summer does not stop. It's a little relentless and a little daunting and a bit overwhelming.
It is overwhelming.
Last weekend, I was streaming. I streamed pretty much the entire, maybe about a good 60-70% of the first day of Celebration.
Right.
That was my entire day. I was working, but I had the stream open at all times, and so I was incredibly unproductive. Yeah. Thanks to the stream. But I thought, it was kind of neat, though. Just being able to, get open access to everything.
It's nuts, yeah.
It was, in some ways it's better than being there, because, comfort of your own home, and, you get the schedule ahead of time. There's some things that are nice about it. Obviously, it's nothing like being there, but it's also, it's not, you don't feel... like you're missing out too much. You're getting everything.
Since it doesn't seem pretty super exclusive just for the people there. The one thing that I knew that they didn't show, one is obviously they did a Rogue One trailer, which they showed to the audience, they didn't reveal to us. Yeah. And then there were rumors going about that it was going to, debut on ABC or some channel or something, but it didn't happen. Yeah. Instead, they gave us the celebration reel, which was the behind-the-scenes thing, which they did for Force Awakens also last year. Which was really nice. And the other thing was for Rebels. they did the trailer, they showed the trailer, they showed like clips and stuff. But then for the people who were there, they did like 2 whole episodes. Like they showed them the first 2 episodes of the season, like of the 3rd season. So I guess that
which is fair. I think
awesome.
That's really
going
fine.
there, you should.
You deserve to
deserve
get,
that,
and you're paying probably a lot of money to get there and waiting in lines for like days.
Oh, gosh,
so I mean, it's definitely worth it. I mean, but I think that like just in general, it's 2016. Live streaming is very much a feasible thing to execute, especially when you have the money that Disney has, when you have the scale and spectacle that these companies do.
Man, they were huge.
So
like
even when it's not
just there, man.
So even when we're not talking about like nerd related things or like conventions like this and whatnot, even with like music festivals like we made the relation to, I think this is something that like they could look into, because like you see a lot of music festivals doing things like Glastonbury.
Glastonbury live streams.
The BBC is very good about like giving you coverage of a lot of the it's about giving you coverage of what is happening there. But I feel like what I really appreciated about this was the Star Wars show had their little side stage, small little 10-minute banter panel, not really a panel, just interview, which is really cool, because then like it sort of fills the time, because
and they covered like so many people, my gosh.
And it's great because it's a really neat way to get very specific into a very niche topic. I want to know everything there is to know about like this guy's wardrobe.
They did something about food or something. I remember fast food or something.
It
was crazy.
Great. I mean, they'll do literally anything they want to, because they know that like this audience will eat anything you give them. So I think that like people, festival organizers the world over can like take a page out of Comic-Con and Star Wars Celebration's book and sort of like give us a lot of live streams.
Is Comic-Con doing some live streams?
They are doing some, but not to the extent that Celebration did. I was very impressed with Celebration.
So for the difference between Celebration, that was like an official live stream. That was like from the Star Wars show, which is made at Lucasfilm and stuff. But I think IGN is doing a live stream.
IGN is doing a stream. Marvel is doing a stream.
Oh, sweet.
Which was really nice. Marvel did a stream of the Luke Cage panel. It did a stream of the defense. No, I didn't get a chance to.
Okay, cool.
It was literally just in the last 24 hours, so I didn't have time. So I will
there's an
definitely
Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. one happening today, I think.
I am well aware.
Cool.
So there's plenty going on with all that. So I don't think we have nearly enough time to talk about everything available there. So
quick highlights. What did you like about Star Wars Celebration?
Christ alive, man.
Oh, yeah.
I don't even know where to begin.
Yeah.
Okay, I will say, obviously, the Rebels thing was amazing. The Rogue One stuff was amazing. The one thing that I loved so much, which surprised me actually, because I was a little apprehensive about it. Obviously, Mark Hamill is amazing. Just watching him be himself is great.
One-man show.
Of course, and I watched the whole thing, and it's just incredible, and it's such a great time to be alive, being a Star Wars fan.
Seriously.
But the Anthony Daniels thing,
how was it?
It was so endearing, because it was
the one with Warwick Davis.
The one that Warwick Davis hosted.
Of it,
So I saw most of it. It was like 3 a.m. as I was watching it. I was like, okay, I've watched like 6 hours of this stuff.
Yeah.
But it was very endearing, because you see this guy who is such an old school showman and a ham, and he knows how to like command a crowd and be entertaining and be engaging. Like, he never answers a question sitting down.
Okay.
He receives a question sitting down, and the question is anything. Like, he pulled up this girl from the audience, and normally, you line up and you say, my question is yada yada, and then they address it or they don't, and that's it, and then move on, next person asks. So just one girl, the first person that asks the question, he goes down to the audience, he picks her up, he says, come on stage. She sits down, kicks off Warwick Davis from his chair, and she's sitting down awkwardly, and it's hilarious. And then she asks him a perfectly good question, which was, what did R2-D2 say to you at the end of The Force Awakens that made you say, how dare you, or whatever. Like, the last line he has, like, he just, like, slaps R2. And obviously, like, R2 probably, like, said something, really offensive or, something smart-ass. And it's great because he immediately jumps out of his seat and he's like, well, like, goes to the audience and says, oh, what do you think? And, like, he sort of, like, hams it up and laps it up. And you can tell he really enjoys his 15 minutes when he gets it with the audience like this.
Hour, right? Yeah,
definitely had it. Yeah,
Anthony Daniels, Protocol Droid. That was the name of the panel.
Yeah, and so it's really endearing seeing the inclusivity of Celebration specifically, because the thing about Comic-Con that Celebration has on top of it is that Comic-Con, like we said, is a little overwhelming. There's so much to do, you just can't get it all in your head. It is the Glastonbury of festivals.
Yeah.
It's on the level of like, this is too big to comprehend.
Yeah, you can't finish.
You just can't get
in
it.
Like 10%.
Yeah. You're lucky if you get 10% of it. The thing about Celebration is everybody's there for one specific thing, and everybody knows it, and there's no
So does that mean...
You can just be indulgent.
So does that mean you think that every franchise should have its own convention?
Not every franchise, but
like
there are a few, the main ones.
There are Trekkies, obviously. There are Trekkie conventions and the Star Wars.
And the thing is, this is a great... The thing is, the thing about the celebration that I love is that all the pieces fit together in the most genuine and honest way because of the fact that it's been 40 years since the very first one.
She said, yeah.
That you can't I can't get that into my head because it's sort of like we being, well, not me and you, but I mean people that have been with it since the first movie came out.
Hey,
like people
it.
of that age, people who have been Star Wars fans for 40 plus years and saw the first one and now they've come full circle and they're there with their grandkids and things like that. That is a really cool thing. There are very few
it's like
brands,
2-3
products,
generations,
films, comics, whatever it is that are able to sustain that legacy status.
Yeah.
So it's just a really cool thing.
So that's what I said. So like I think
given that time,
definitely Star Trek. I mean, Star Trek has been around way longer.
Yeah, 50.
Maybe a lot. I guess. See, the difference is that it's such a good time to be a Star Wars fan because Star Wars is like making completely new stuff. You don't know where it could go.
You don't know where it's going.
You don't know where it could go. Star Trek also. I mean, the same way. Star Wars. So I think these two. Lord of the Rings is something you can't. It's done because like there's only that many number of books.
There is only that many.
Yeah. So
until somebody buys it over and spins off, which
it's
very
possible.
well. I think very well could happen, but we don't.
No, and there's plenty of material for them to like. There's enough universe for them to build within. But I mean, it's. I don't know. It's different for books, is it? I don't know. It just is. I don't know. I just feel that it's different.
It's a different flavor. It's definitely a different flavor.
Well, so Star Wars, man, it was great. I enjoyed it, man. The Rebels fan, I can't even, dude, it was so cool.
We'll definitely come back to this when the season comes back again. That's
Dave Filoni is like my hero. I think he's the new George Lucas. Like he really is
in a lot of ways.
He's the actual Padawan to apprentice to Lord.
That being
Lucas.
That being said, on the Rebels panel, did you feel a little? I don't know if the word that came to mind was irked. That's a little harsh, but I felt a little uncomfortable at times, but with regard to the banter between Sam Witwer and Filoni. There's sort of like this showmanship of like upstaging one over the other,
he's a ham, dude. That Sam Witwer, he's just hamming up the Maul, and he was Maul and Palpatine,
right?
So,
and that's totally fair.
Yeah.
But the thing is, like, Filoni is the boss, and everybody's clear about that. I think it was also like it was made uncomfortable because of the fact that Tia, is that her name? Tia Sarkar. She is so humble and shy and whatnot, and so like I think the fact that I could see that she felt a little like, holy crap, are we gonna get like, dude, like stop? We might actually get in trouble if you keep. I felt there was some unease on that stage for like a few seconds. It was just like hilarious to watch.
They've been together on this show like for like years and years, like more than 10 years now. With including Clone Wars. I mean, Rebels, for whatever, for all intents and purposes, is the sequel to Clone Wars. So like it's if you see it as one long show, it's like imagine knowing somebody for so long that you can just literally say anything and you don't have to care because you know that you guys are tight. So I mean that's what I mean. I didn't get any vibes like that, but like. Yeah, man. I think he was also just playing into the fact that he's like a Sith, and he said, "Yeah, these guys are really self-serving." And so I think that was just
it was great. I was just very aware of this sort of like power dynamic happening. I was like, what's going on?
It was great though, man. Like Filoni is like easily one of my heroes, and now with Thrawn being there, oh my gosh, like I can't even. It's too much.
That will be a good episode.
Yeah, that'll be a great. We should do that one later on. Rebels when it comes back in the fall.
So okay, cool. So we're gonna break.
Yeah, we'll take a break, and we'll be back talking about Gotham.
Every week comes a show where three people come together to tell you about stuff they like. A movie, a TV show, a book, and other stuff. Tune in every Monday on iTunes, Audio Boom, the IVM Podcast app, to IVM Likes. Batman approves this message. Thank you, Batman.
Cool, so we are back. We never left. We never go anywhere.
Actually,
but
no,
we'd like to let you know that we are.
There are other ads that play between our shows. So.
Well, I'm not. Did you hear one?
Yeah, I've heard one.
I just know. I mean,
I listen to the shows sometimes.
No, I mean like right now.
Oh, now I didn't hear. Now I heard like just dead silence.
Yeah, exactly.
And then we just take a short break.
I just heard my heartbeat.
Breathe, and then come back.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's the behind the scenes of the Geek Fruit show. So
it's
cool. We're
crazy.
talking about Gotham, man. There's a lot to get into. There was a whole season. Actually, I've been on a Batman trip anyway for the last I don't know. Gotham has really got me back into the whole Batman universe like hardcore because I've been playing Arkham City again and just like a bunch of things.
Oh, speaking of minor aside, speaking of celebration, did you see Hamill's reading
the
out?
Joker, of course, the Killing Joke.
That was so cool.
He is the Joker.
That was so cool.
He is the Joker.
That was really cool.
He's. I mean, just his laugh is maniacal laugh is just everything, man. That guy's he's so sharp, also, man. He's super sharp. All right, coming back.
So,
talking about Gotham.
So, what did you not like about the first season?
Why did we not like?
What did you like about this one more? I guess. What was the difference?
You know why? So I followed the first season, like we all of us did. In Dinkar also kind of did the first season, I think, right? Did he?
I vaguely remember, like I was advocating that you guys stick with it because, like I said, I've been watching the second season.
I stuck with the first. I will always stick with the first season of a show just to give it a chance, blah blah and all that stuff, including Flash. I remember when I watched the Flash pilot, I just didn't like it at all, and then like I just went through the entire season, and now obviously goes without saying. But for Gotham, I think the first one was a real struggle because I mean it's just for the same reasons that everybody's been saying the same things that everyone has said about the show, which is that tonally it was like really weird. I mean we didn't know where it was, what's happening, and there was the whole villain of the week thing, so we didn't really have one main story that was driving the entire thing. And obviously the second season has corrected that to a great degree. At least, like, I'd say for the first half majorly. First half of the season. Second half, it kind of, again, like, floundered and then finally got something back together. Yeah. I mean, salvaged whatever it could. So that was my feeling about the first season.
Yeah.
There are things that why I even came back to even attempt the second season is because I really liked a lot of things about the first season, which was... like, while I didn't like Fish Mooney at all, I really love, I love Butch and the Penguin. Okay, those guys are great.
They're amazing.
I really liked this guy, the main Falcone, like Carmine Falcone. He was great. Such a great actor, and he was like a proper, senior figure of authority in that show. He was really great.
I believe him 100%.
Yeah, I didn't warm up to Gordon as much in the first season because I just felt like he was picking the way that he wants to be Gordon.
Yeah.
But Bullock, I mean, Don Logue, like...
From the word go.
From the word go, it's like, you know who this guy is.
Man.
He's great. Obviously, I like Catwoman because she's a spitting image of Michelle Pfeiffer.
She's got a unique charm.
Yeah, and she's great. Obviously, the Penguin, I mean, like I mentioned. And what's his... I love Alfred, man. Alfred is like one of my favorites. His father was like Doctor Who, man. Like, this guy is a great actor, and he's a different... So there's only one version of Alfred that I've seen like this, which was in an animated cartoon, like a CGI animated cartoon called Beware the Batman. And that was like the Batman show which kind of got all these C-list characters instead of the main one. So they had Professor Pig and all that stuff who used to hack people to pieces. Like just like some of the darker kind of sides. But they did it for a kids show. And the Alfred in that show was this bald, completely bald, but like really buff, like almost like Vin Diesel-esque kind of ex-British service kind of guy. And he was much younger, like the way they've made him in this. Like Alfred is like maybe his 40s, right? So just like made him younger, made him more like sprightly, not like saying, oh, you're not Michael Caine, basically. Yeah. So he's way more involved, and it makes so much sense, dude. Like
absolutely, yeah.
We only see Batman from the point of view like where he's Batman and his butler's old, but like you have to see like how did he even become Batman? I'm sure this man must have played such an important role in actually shaping that.
Yeah, because in every iteration of Batman that we see, we always take their relationship for granted. It's always like it's a given that Bruce has all the respect in the world for Alfred, like,
and Alfred has to deal with all his shit.
Yeah, exactly. So the thing I like about this show, and which I did like from the word go. One of the few things I liked about the first season, which I love even more so now, is that it's a very, very bold show.
It is.
It's one of the most...
So true.
It's one of the most risk-taking shows, which I think they have more hits than misses now. The first season had a lot more misses than hits. This season has been far more consistent with it. And...
Like this one has vision. Like it has a.
This one has
definitive vision.
Now they have a direction. They know what they're doing with it, which is really great. So, but as I was watching this, I was texting you like constantly. There's so many things about this which like completely dumbfound me, but then I love at the same time.
Same. There's so many bizarre moments.
So a lot of the things, like we said, about the style of it, like the visual aesthetic of this show. So one, I've never seen from a cinematographic standpoint, I've never seen as many Dutch angles in a show as this one. Like, it's just such an old school trick that has now sort of been like tabooed, because it's like that's such a cliched move. Well, you don't do it anymore. So now these guys like do it all the freaking time, and it's become so ubiquitous in the show that you kind of don't notice it anymore, which is really neat. And then on top of that, the art direction.
Yeah.
The thing is, Gotham being a made-up city. I think this show, I mean, obviously the majority of DC universe is in fictitious cities.
Yeah.
This show is using that tool to its advantage a lot more than most others. Like with Flash, for example, and Arrow, they don't really...
The city,
it could be any city.
It could be any city.
Literally any city.
It looks like an American city.
It just looks like American downtown suburb.
It's fine.
But this one, it's got such quirkiness to it that I love it, because the one thing, like towards the end of the season, when Penguin meets his dad, okay, wait, we should do this.
Oh yeah, spoiler alert.
Spoiler that stuff. Okay, cool.
Sorry, when he meets Pee Wee Herman, sorry.
Yeah, basically, so when he meets Pee Wee Herman and he takes him back to his house, it's a mansion out of like the Addams Family. And then the guy is wearing, he's sleepwalking wearing like the classic Mr. Sandman pajama with like the pointy hat.
Sleeping cap,
and he's carrying around like a candlestick.
What was ever the purpose of a sleeping cap?
I tweeted that out. I really want to know, like, how is that a practical thing? Like,
I don't know.
How can they make sleeping more comfortable? You have this like tail on your head that's like gonna, like, you might choke on that. Like, that's
I only know Amir Khan wearing it in Andaz Apna Apna.
Like, who?
And that's it.
Why was that a thing? Anyway, so they go from that, right? So they have these little quirks. They have an old school mansion straight from the Addams Family. And then they have typewriters at the GCPD.
Yeah.
They have typewriters. They have cell phones. Clearly no internet on their cell phones.
They don't have computers, or? Have I not seen a computer?
They have computers.
Because they've been using projectors to like, project
so
images.
They're watching old school film reels where the soundtrack is... That's the soundtrack to your movie. They have things like that. They have cell phones. They don't have internet, so I'm pretty sure they don't have Google. They can't just Google stuff. They don't have GPS tracking.
They have directories.
Do they have GPS tracking?
No.
I don't think that, right?
No.
So it's in this weird like 90s, but then some parts of the city, or it's like late 90s, early 2000s,
I think
but some parts of the city is like
1920s. I think it's early 90s.
No, they have flip phones.
Yeah, so flip phones were like I think they were there like 94, 95. So I mean, and it was America. Like flip phones came here.
Okay, yeah. So maybe 90s. Yeah, mid 90s.
Yeah, it just seems. Yeah, you're right. It's very anachronistic. Like there's a lot of discrepancies in really what kind of time period is there.
Yeah, so they pick and choose what's convenient to the plot.
It's very unique. It's very Tim Burton. Like
it is very Tim Burton.
It is
in a lot of ways.
But at the same time, so this difference is like in Tim Burton's world, it felt very closed off. Like it feels like these are all sets. You know that these are all sets, and you don't get that open world feel. But in Gotham, you get that open world feel. With the vista shots and with all the some of the shots which are just where they just do this in between kind of filler shots, which are just pans of the city or all those shots are very like Chris Nolan. Like if you take the Chris Nolan films like which are shot in Chicago, and you just grade it in the same way they grade Gotham, that's it. So you get a mix, like a good mix before that. And the only way I see it is that they're trying to make it seem older is because Bruce is young. And I feel like when Batman is old, that's when we'll all be in the correct
like modern day
exactly,
kind of sort of thing, which is smart, which I think is very smart. And actually, speaking of those vista shots of like the cityscape as you like sort of pan across, which as you said is a transition shot, those actually are pretty unimpressive CG shots. They actually like I can see the seams in those things. Like I can see what they're doing.
No, but there's a lot of it which is real stuff, which has been shot actually.
So that's the thing. So they have a lot of. So I mean, this is like really geeky, like sort of VFX stuff. But what I'm getting at is the fact that those shots, which they use several times in every episode, and they obviously keep recycling those things again and again, which is fine. Everybody does that. That is clearly where they don't have much of a priority. But what they do have their priority on is building sets and building set pieces and building props that fit this very unique aesthetic, which I appreciate.
Like the GCPD.
Like Arkham Asylum. Arkham Asylum looks beautiful. Hugo Strange lab is really neat. And so, all the characters, like Mr. Freeze, his costume is amazing. Like it's a really neat,
it was cool.
completely,
really cool.
Prosthetic makeup and everything. Like there's limited CGI in this thing.
Yeah.
There's not too much CG.
There's
which
not
is
actually
really
a
cool,
lot,
which is a bold thing. Like these days when TV needs to get churned out like, every second you need to have a new episode ready to go.
Yeah.
Especially in this show which has 22.
Yeah.
They're clearly putting a lot of time and money into art direction and to making it look a certain way and feel like you're there. Like I would love to walk through the set of Gotham.
Yeah.
Because it wouldn't be a bunch of green screens.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
That's true.
But with the Flash, for example,
yeah,
Flash, it's a generic city, like we said.
Yeah,
and it's
lots
all
of CGI.
and it's all based on like just buy trapcode particular and then put like these lightning effects on the guy and then boom.
Of course, yeah,
So,
because I mean that's
and
still
Agents
more
of
of a
S.H.I.E.L.D. is
science
guilty
fiction.
of that as well.
Yeah, it's more of a science fiction show. This is still very like goth,
Fantasy.
like it's gothic.
Yeah,
the show. It's more supernatural than anything else.
All like the nightclub, all the sketchy stuff, back alley stuff. It's beautiful.
It's great.
It's
really
all
nice.
actually there.
Yeah,
so
it's
it's
true.
really cool.
I agree. I think the art direction is quite fantastic
Yeah.
on this show, and it's definitely one of the things that really makes it stand out from the rest of the DC
Yeah.
stuff. Which is why they don't ever interact, and they won't, because obviously it's on another network, it's on
fine with
Fox.
that.
But yeah, this is just and I just love that it's owning it.
It's totally owning
it
it.
just owns its own like universe. That I was watching. I was watching the interview from the SDCC panel from last year, and Bruno Heller and Jeff Johns is like there, and he's just telling like he's just talking about Bruno Heller, the guy who's made the show, and he's just like, this guy had a vision, and the fact that he just fought for it so much, he just like, they said, go with it, because it's so distinctive, like there's nothing else on television like it.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So let's get to some of the arcs. Let's get the actual story and discuss that. The first half of the season was better than the second half, in my opinion. Anyway, I think also you might agree.
Yeah.
It was the arc was between. It was a simple like plot.
Yeah.
I'd say.
Yes.
Which is that Theo Gallavan is this kind of rich businessman who's come out of nowhere, don't know who he is, and basically he is kind of formulating a plot to try and become the mayor. And you don't know why he's trying to accumulate so much power until you realize the plot is to end the Wayne, lineage, because of an old feud that has gone back, a couple of, like, maybe a century.
Mm-hmm.
So that was pretty much the main arc. And the guy who plays Theo Gallavan did a pretty decent job. I thought he was all right.
I like him.
Yeah, he was good until his reappearance later on in the show. But yeah, he came off as a very, like, almost like, it was like a mixture of, like, Black Mask, like, Richard Sionis meets Lex Luthor-ish kind of vibe. But really cool, man. Like, I really
I liked the cult thing about it. That was kind of neat.
So that's the thing, all right? So now one of the major cult things in the Batman lore is the Court of Owls, which now they've, like, kind of really...
Straight up dropped.
Said that this is the Court of Owls.
That's the next chapter.
Which is interesting, because the way the Court of Owls has come up is in much more recent iterations of the Batman comic. It's like now, like in the last 10 years, the Court of Owls has become one of the more famous ones. It was the first arc after the New 52 came up, and basically what happens is the Court of Owls, it's a simple plot, is that there's this secret society, very much like the Illuminati, and they kind of have been orchestrating all the events in Gotham for the last like 2-3 centuries, and it's been passed down, and then there's one major character whose name is Talon, and whatever, and then Batman has no idea, Bruce has no idea that there are these subterranean levels, and and something that he doesn't know about Gotham, surprisingly, you know, that because they've only shown their face now, unlike the League of Shadows, who's he's worked with earlier, but this is like the first time ever, and I'm surprised that they're kind of bringing it up now, it's
as opposed
to when Batman is Batman. Like, he's like, Bruce Wayne is still young, and he doesn't need to know about this in a way.
Yeah.
Because if he finds out now, he'll never find out as Batman later on, which is fine. It's really cool for the context of this show.
The thing about this show, what I like, the one thing that I think people forget a little bit, and I obviously forgot as well myself, but I like to keep in the back of my head, is the fact that, we're looking at the birth of his universe, right? So the thing is, he can never defeat any of these guys. Because the point is, he's going to fight them eventually.
It's not even him.
He's fighting them now, or like Gordon is fighting them now.
It's Gordon's show.
It's Gordon's show. So I always want to see less of Bruce, even though now finally I agree he is getting better.
He's getting better.
First season, I hated the kid. I wanted him to die in a car fire. I detested Bruce Wayne in the first season. Now I'm warming up to him. He's getting better.
Chiller. I was still chill with Bruce Wayne.
He's still easily one of my least favorite characters, but I like him a lot more than I liked him before. But again, what I'm saying is that we're setting up these people, and with Batman, from the very birth of the character, decades ago, all the villains were already established as like, hey, take it for granted that these guys are arch nemesis from years gone by. So what we're getting is the backstory. So we are seeing the prequels
rise to power.
We're seeing the prequel saga, right? And so it's neat to sort of see why, when they meet Batman eventually, and they don't know that Batman is the same kid, that Batman understands how they work, and these guys are just flummoxed at the fact that, like, holy crap, how does he know what we're going to do?
Which is interesting, though, because, in the traditional sense, Batman discovers these people as he becomes Batman. Like, the Joker's happens after. I mean, like, Batman creates the Joker in many ways. Like, Jack Napier is, or whatever, that's the Jack Nicholson one.
Yeah.
But, like, whoever, the Red Hood is the one he kind of, like, by accident, he falls into the vat of, chemicals at Ace Chemicals or whatever, and he becomes a Joker. So he becomes a Joker very much in the time of Batman. And a lot of these characters are made in the time of Batman, Two-Face, you know. So many of these people who've all made appearances on this show. And it's interesting because this is the first time we're seeing the reverse happen. We always felt like, because it's something that, we've been seeing finally, comic book movies and all that stuff address the fact that why do these things keep happening? Like, why are there so many villains? And we've had that great line from Vision who says,
I was just thinking of that.
Yeah, that awesome line, that our very power invites challenge. At the same time, we're seeing the reverse happen where, this is the first time where Batman is probably being created by villains and not like villains being created by Batman, which is so cool.
It's so cool.
It's awesome that, he's seeing like these guys become weirder and weirder and weirder. It's no wonder that he becomes Batman. He just joins that crew as a good guy, but like,
And eventually, if the show keeps its traction and it does its job the way it should, what we should see happen is, again, this show is about Gordon first and foremost.
It is Gordon.
So it's actually Gordon versus all these guys.
Yeah.
And Gordon should not be beaten by them, but he should eventually reach some sort of stalemate with these guys. And he can't win, and he's helpless. And then eventually Bruce is like, okay, we need a third party to enter who nobody can know about, and I'm gonna be that guy.
That's cool. No, the other thing is that Gordon is pretty much Batman of this show. Like, he's the non-vigilante Batman.
Yeah.
And in some cases,
now he is the vigilante,
which is so strange, though. I mean, like, so we're already kind of seeing that. First of all, I was completely shocked when he shot. Yeah, okay, spoilers. He shot, like, Theo Gallavan. Like, clean, just like, boom, he kills him. And I just felt like, this is great because this is something Batman will never do, but James Gunn might do because he's got no powers. Like, this is what he has to do. And he kills him. And I was like, whoa, that's super dark.
Yeah.
And then when they brought him back, I was just like, oh, this is a way of just like cleaning it up,
I guess.
absolving him of his guilt.
Yeah.
But at the start, it would go so much darker. Like, there are a couple of places where I thought this show would go really dark and then didn't. Like when there's a great scene in the church when Barbara kind of kidnaps both of them. It was a really dark scene. Because she's in this wedding dress and it's crazy, right? And then, I thought, like, when she falls, she's dead, But, and I don't know, like, obviously we know that Barbara is going to get married to James Gunn, but now I doubt that. Like, I don't know how they're going to do this, like, properly. Even though they've kind of embarked on this redemption-ish kind of thing, it's really strange,
She has been one of the most amazing aces in the hole that they've got. So mathematically, when I saw the way they set her up at the very beginning of the show, I never thought I'd like her. She's become more interesting as a villain. Hands down, every scene she's in so far in this season, I have loved that much more. She has never disappointed me in a scene, even though she is cliched, super crazy, super
she's hamming it up,
hammy as hell. But somehow
it works.
She works beautifully.
She works well against Gordon's like straight edge kind of thing. The other thing is that she comes off as this very Harley Quinn kind of vibe,
she totally
right?
does. She totally
especially in the early part of the season with Jerome,
when
who's the Joker of that whatever this time and stuff. And like there's that vibe which is so.
And again, just it's these bold choices that the show is making. They know clearly that yes, we are setting up this person who's got these traits of Harley Quinn, but she's not going to be Harley Quinn.
So, and this guy's supposed to be Joker, but he's not Joker.
So they know what they're doing to us. They know that they're giving us, they're sort of like teasing us with this thing, and like we know that we're never going to get it. It's sort of like, it's a little like sadistic that we're enjoying the fact that like we're seeing something in front of us that we know isn't really there. And they know that they're putting that in front of us.
That's the other thing. This shows, the whole first half of the season was called Rise of the Villains, and then the second half was called Wrath of the Villains. So, this show is all about the villains, and it's crazy to see that they're just toying with this whole Joker idea. Like, they've done 2 Jokers in the season. There was the other one, the female Joker, Jerry, who's in the
on
club.
The stage,
dude, she was so good.
Did you
she
see
first of all, like, just reminded me of Ellen DeGeneres. But just like, she was just so good. Like,
did you see the graffiti on the wall at the end of the season? So it was a scene where Gordon and Alfred and Bruce hijack a car, cop car, the armored car, and they give that girl that money, give the cop some money and say, now just run away with the money and go. So it was a tiny little thing, but it was there consistently. So it wasn't like a small, like one miss it, blink it and you miss. That entire scene, which is a good, couple minutes long, there's a wall in the background with the classic Joker eyes and then ha 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 written all over it.
Oh.
It was like right front and center in the frame.
Yeah, we should do some research on these Easter eggs.
So it was full of it, and I was just like, wait a minute. So like what? And on top of that, the very last shot of this season when the mutated or the what's the word?
What the
undead, the resurrected guys, when they escape from the school bus, when the old lady lets them out, you can hear the Joker's laugh.
Oh yeah,
in the background, like
that must
like,
be Jerome. Like he seems most touted to be the
absolutely.
The Joker
and I really liked him.
He's great.
Liked
He's
him.
great, and the fact that again he dies, Theo Gallavan stabs him in the neck. He's just like, wait, what?
Yeah, it's so
it's
great.
just like anything. Yeah, it was great. Man, I think there's a lot of really, really interesting points. So the first half of the season, this whole Gallavan thing, I really, really did enjoy it because it. You remember I messaged you in the middle. I was like, in the beginning, I was like, oh my god, I'm so tired. And in the middle, I was like, I love this show. It's so good because there was a couple of really good action set pieces also. Like Gordon is undefeatable. Like he's awesome. He's just really great. There's this one the one really good scene which is where these assassins are coming after him. Like this guy's paid off. Like his sister Tabitha has paid these assassins to come. And this is one really good elevator scene.
Yes.
Where he's got this really good fight scene in that. Yes. There's another really great fight scene between Alfred and Tabitha. When he comes searching for clues in his household, basically. In this,
yes.
Again, really good. I just tried to make
months ago when I saw it.
Exactly. I had to make just a note of all these really, really good fight scenes. I
love the fight between Gallavan. Well, undead Gallavan, Azrael, and Alfred. That was a bit much like swashbuckling in Wayne Manor.
We'll get to the Azrael bit because Azrael is a huge character for me as a kid also. Okay. So we'll get to that, but. So actually, you know what? We'll take a break and then we're going to talk about the second half of the season and some of our favorite parts, and we'll obviously talk about the big one of the second half, which is Hugo Strange.
Did you know that some termites in Africa have a pleasantly minty flavor?
Did you know that India's largest music festival was in a way conceptualized in Estonia?
Did you know that the awesomest chips in the world are found only inside US prisons?
Hello, I'm Chuck.
I'm Sriket.
And I'm Naren.
And together we are
Simplified,
a podcast that helps you appear smarter to an audience that knows no different.
Or give you some stuff to talk about at parties.
We are ultra-crepidarians.
And if you don't know what that means,
then tune into Simplified with a B on iTunes, Audioboom, or your favorite podcasting app. Episodes out every fortnight.
So, we are talking about Kanan Gill starring as the Riddler. And
is that what everybody thinks, though?
I agree with you. I mean, you said that first.
Yeah? I said it.
I think.
Yes, I did say it. Yes,
and somebody else, who...
I told you.
And Andy Richter as Butch. I think that's spot on.
That is spot really on. Andy Richter.
Yeah.
As
also, fun fact. So, you know that I told you that the guy, Gordon, what's his name? Ben McKenzie is from the OC. Right? So, Penguin's adoptive mother, the redhead, the crazy redhead mother who kills... Mr. Pee Wee Herman and the family. So she was also on the OC, and she played Ryan's love interest's evil mother.
So she was just playing another evil mother.
She was just playing the same character. I was like, whoa, I really hope they have a reunion. This would be amazing. But it sadly did not happen.
Wow, man. I have to go back and probably watch maybe some clips of Ben McKenzie in the OC. I never watched
You really should, man.
I just want to see what the difference is as...
I can't get it out of my head. Thing is that... Okay.
Is it different? Is it vastly different from what he plays right now? Is it completely?
Not completely, and that's why it's hilarious. If it was, then it would be one thing. But the fact that I can see moments of the Ryan, edgy sort of high school heartthrob coming back. It's amazing. But I'll tell you. So my knowledge of Ben McKenzie's filmography is only threefold. The OC for 4 seasons, which made his... Well, I guess started his career back in the mid-2000s.
So what was he doing between OC and...
the only other time that I've encountered this individual, who I now think is actually a pretty damn good actor. I'm very happy with him in Gotham. The only other time was so random. It was in the summer of 2009 or 2009. I was living in America at the time, and I had just started my Netflix subscription back before Netflix was a streaming service.
What do you call
this was a DVD mailing
order,
and thing, right?
Mail order,
So what I would do, it was the summer, so I had a lot of free time. I just had a part-time job, and I had a lot of free time, so I got Netflix, and I would just watch a lot of movies. And so I will say this to my shame that I would because the mailing system was so efficient over there. I would get a DVD at 10 a.m. Monday morning.
Yeah.
Monday afternoon, I'd rip it and then send it back at 3 p.m. And I'd get the next one Tuesday afternoon. So I would get a DVD within 36 hours because there was a Netflix shipping agent like right next to where I was.
Nice.
So I very quickly went through like the big movies that I wanted to get and made sure I got them.
Yeah.
And then the recommended thing popped up, and this was the first time like recommended, like, ooh, I was like, oh, what is that? And like the algorithm, like, I was like, whoa, you can like suggest things? This is amazing.
How do you know that?
Right, how do you know me? And somehow it suggested a movie called 88 Minutes.
Yeah, I've heard about
starring Al Pacino and one Ben McKenzie.
Oh, shit.
And it was very, very okay.
No, If I've not heard about an Al Pacino movie as much,
So I mean, it was like a Taken, basically 88 minutes before the bomb blows up.
Dude, yes,
kind
of course. I think I've seen this movie, man.
And it was very forgettable. And he was in it, and he played like a badass cop. And basically, he was trying to break away from the teenage heartthrob thing of the OC and sort of be like, hey, I'm a grown-ass man now.
Yeah.
Let me like kick ass and take names. Yeah. And Al Pacino has my back, so that must mean I'm like a credible actor, right? It was like, well, no, you're in this movie, and Al Pacino's selling it, not you. So I'm sorry.
And the kids are gonna come watch because of you.
And the kids might come and watch you, but the movie probably didn't do too well.
And
then all of a sudden,
this Al Pacino guy.
All of a sudden, friggin' 5 years later or whatever, he's in Gotham, and I was like, wow, this guy like gets. He knows how to pick him.
Yeah.
Or at least
this is. I mean, like this seems like I mean, it's very fitting for him. Like he's nailed the vibe of what I think Gordon would be like as a younger man. Like way more brash, way more like, you know, broody. I think it's just like, you know, you can see this guy turn into Gary Oldman like at some point. You know,
absolutely.
Like, you know, where Gary Oldman is just like tired and just like, oh my god, somebody just give me like a free day or something like that.
And again, I think it's backed up on just the show being a really well thought out, specific world to live in, because nobody else in that damn police station gives a damn.
Except, Bullock is also there.
Bullock is there. He doesn't really...
saw the end of Essen.
Yeah. Who, again, I liked him.
Which is, again, not Essen. Essen is Sarah Essen.
Wait,
the female.
What's the bald guy? The bald guy.
Michael Chiklis. Barnes.
I liked him a lot.
Is he dead?
Yeah.
Wait, when?
Gallavan. Azrael, at the very end.
I thought he's...
Azrael killed him.
He doesn't die, does he?
Yeah, he does.
No, he goes... He's not dead. He's only... he's very incapacitated.
You sure?
Yeah. I'm pretty sure he's not dead.
Because he stabs him with a sword.
He stabs him with the hilt, not the complete sword. He doesn't impale him.
Because when the season ends... Gordon's like, hey, captain. Bullock, you're the captain now, so like get a haircut.
He's an acting
I thought Barnes
captain.
was out of it. Okay, all right.
No, he's out of it probably, but he's great. Michael Chiklis is great. He played a very like on the line kind of guy. It was great because he has that one line that the dialogue which he says there is no line, and it's just the law and nothing else, which I thought was a really great moment. There are a couple of really good scenes that stood out for me in the season. One was that Matches Malone scene. I love that.
That was really cool.
I really love that.
You know, cool.
Because like it's Bruce going to finally confront this dude, and we've all been waiting for it. And he goes there. I felt, it was a bit like really sudden, like the fact that he decides to. So he basically has this conversation with him, and that conversation, that whoever the guy played, he was
on Breaking Bad, and he pretty much played the exact same role.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm on season 2 of Breaking Bad right now. So hey, it's okay, man. It's alright. Yeah. I'm still working on it, like day by day.
Yeah.
But I think
I wait for the day that you call me frantically, and then you will insist upon a podcast episode on Breaking Bad.
I'm okay with doing one now. So, but like, but my point is that that guy he nailed it, man. Like that one scene which he has, he says, I'm just tired, man. I do this, I don't get, and he's like, I don't get punished for what I do. So just kill me now.
But honestly,
I thought that was a great scene.
Now that I think about it, that was the episode where I tapped out.
Oh yeah?
That specific scene is where I tapped out.
Okay.
I came back into it like months later at that scene. Like after that scene ends and Gordon comes in and he sees the blood on the floor. Yeah. From that moment on is where I press pause and press play again months later.
Right.
Because, so the thing is, like, this kind of a show, I mean, 22 episodes, it doesn't need 22 episodes.
It doesn't need that. It needs 12.
No, I can't think of a single show that has ever validated 22 episodes. I just don't know. Yeah, they need to stop this.
Unless it's 22 minutes long, each episode. Then in that case, it's fine.
Then it's more digestible. Then it's easier going down.
Then it's probably the nature of the show is different. Yeah.
The nature of the show is different, but it's still like, you don't need that much of anything, Yeah, I agree. Especially when it's long format and you have singular arc and stuff like that. You don't write a book that's 3,000 pages. You write 3 of 4 or 5 700-page books. You know what I mean? Like you break it up to give the audience like a break. Like you can't give me, you can't tell me a story for so long. I will eventually start to wander.
No, and you can see the writers kind of flounder, you know, for like, especially after the whole Theo Gallavan kind of arc ends. And there are like a couple of episodes, like 2-3 episodes, which was my worst, like that was the real dipping point for me, which is when it's kind of like about Mr. Freeze.
Yeah, but that's exactly where I paused. That's right where I
but
paused.
Also like Hugo Strange is kind of getting into it was just like, oh man, and then, you know, and I loved the Penguin again till this first half of the season because his role in this whole Gallavan thing was excellent, right?
Amazing.
It was so good because, you know, there's a real, like a proper thing where his mother is there and that's the only person he's ever cared about. And this is a young, you know, penguin, so it's not like, it's so funny to say that. This is a young, like, baby penguin. And, you know, this is the thing that he cares about. Like, later on in 20, 30 years, he's not going to give a damn, you know? Like, but this is maybe the one thing that makes him so cold and things like that. And you know, that was brutally ended. And just like, that felt like his position, especially that after that church scene or something, and Gallavan is there, and Penguin is there, and Gallavan is there, and it's a standoff between both of them. And Penguin just says, like, you know, just get out of the way.
Yeah.
I'm going to take care of this.
I loved the bazooka.
Dude!
That was
insanely cool was that?
Beautiful. With the music choice for that and everything.
Yeah, it was perfect.
Everything about that moment was...
So Theo Gallavan comes back as Azrael.
Balls.
And which is so strange because Azrael is this character which I used to really, really love as a kid. Now I'll just give you some backstory for that. Okay, Azrael in the comics is a part of the very, very seminal kind of series which is called Nightfall. And Nightfall is the one where, you know, Bane breaks, you know, his back and Batman's back and everything like that. And basically after the events of his, you know, back breaking, he can't be Batman. And there's a character called Jean-Paul Valley who's and he's this kind of like, he's like an acrobat, he's got skills and stuff like that. So he gives him the mantle of the Batman to John Paul Valley, and that guy calls himself Azrael, and he kind of goes and exacts justice upon everybody. The story goes on that, you know, this guy becomes too consumed by power, and Batman has to come back, you know, basically just become better, and then to go and stop Azrael. But Azrael, his intentions are good, but he pushes it too far. Like, he starts killing, like, all these murderers and things like that. So anyway, so that's what Azrael's story is, as far as I'm concerned. And I had the action figure when I was a kid, and it was great, and it was awesome. And I was just like, whoa, it's like, what do they say about Azrael? Like, what is happening? And then it just turned out that this guy is just using the moniker to kind of shape him as an assassin, literally, from Assassin's Creed, who looks exactly like that.
I told you, I was waiting for the Eagle Vision to happen.
Yeah.
Although they did kind of do the Eagle Vision.
And like the other thing was like, he has the bleeding effect in the room also. Like, he's actually painting on the walls with his blood. It was just like exactly from Assassin's Creed. So yeah, that was there. And just to end him, they literally, like, Penguin comes out of nowhere, takes a bazooka and shoots him and just blows him up.
Just the bombasticness of that is exactly...
It was great.
At the right moment. It was a little random how he was thrown in as a sort of...
There's a lot of randomly bizarre stuff. Like Hugo Strange, there's one scene where Mr. Freeze is like in this Indian Hill, whatever, Pinewood. It has like 6 different names.
Yeah, seriously.
Arkham and everything. So, and he's there. It's just like Hugo Strange in one scene. It's just like, it was just so funny because Hugo Strange is like looking at Mrs. Peabody. It's Ms. Peabody, sorry. And he's like, we have to go see. And that's B.D. Wong, by the way.
I know, I love him.
Yeah, B.D. Wong. Yeah. So he's like, we have to go see. What's his name? Victor. Yeah, and Victor
Price.
Yeah, Victor Price. And I was wondering how they were going to do that, and they did it like tongue in cheek.
What?
The fact that
freeze fries.
The freeze fries. Yeah. He's freeze. Yeah, in the comic. Yeah, and it's like so funny. He's like, yeah, we must go see Victor. Cut to, they show Victor, he's strapped in that little like gurney or whatever.
Yeah.
And then they cut to these guys and they're wearing these snowsuits.
Yes,
the
orange thing.
It was so funny.
This is what I mean. The thing is, I'm sure they knew that it looked stupid, but they did it anyway just to be like, hey, let's just have some fun and make them look ridiculous.
It was
and
hilarious.
then B.D. Wong is standing there with his deadpan look, and it's just
and
beautiful.
He's just like, Victor. And he's just wearing, they're both wearing like these identical snowsuits.
The show is just self-aware enough that I love it.
That the one best moment which came at right at the end of the series, which is, it's just hilarious. When the bomb is there, and she's like, they're trying to figure it out, and he's like, water. And they go pour water, and she's like, I need water.
I need water, please.
I just found that was hilarious. That was really great. Other really great moves. There was another really good line, which I don't know what is, but Bullock, after all these events are happening, and Bullock is like, "No, man, listen, we can't do that. Okay, we can't do this." And like, and just this guy just deadpans, looks at him. He's like, "Really? That's where you draw the line? Finally, after all this, like, you'll do anything, but that's where you'll draw the line."
Yeah.
It was just really funny. And even Penguin's one other line, which he's like, I don't know who he's talking about. I can't remember. I think he's talking about Gallavan, but he's like, "Oh man, if he wanted to wear leather, he should just wear leather. This is Gotham City. Nobody cares." I just love that line.
That's
that was
true.
so great. Yeah.
But yeah, man. Speaking of Bullock, though, that dude needs to get into the MCU. I need to see that man.
He could easily be
get
an agent
more
of
limelight.
S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yeah, he needs like.
But he's in.
He needs to be in
now.
Netflix. He needs to get that's what he should be. He should be in freaking Netflix, in a grittier, serious role where he has far more limelight. Because the thing is, like, there's something about the fact that, like I said, like when we first mentioned Gotham, like, I don't even know how many episodes ago.
Yeah.
The first time I've seen the guy, and I think pretty much the first time most people would have seen him, was on
Grounded for Life.
Grounded for Life,
Yeah.
which was a very, like a family-friendly
He was great on
after-school
that
special.
also.
And he was hilarious. It was a fun little show. And then he completely disappeared. And he comes back in this show, in this character, and there's something refreshing about him in the same way that I love Harrison Wells, in that he is a character made for this show. And so he almost always is the voice of reason from the audience's perspective. He's always there to sort of be like, "Look, guys, you all have to say what you're saying because you're the character that we know you are.
Yeah.
I'm the wild card because you don't have a clue what I'm going to say, so I'm going to speak the truth."
Yeah, but Bullock has been like that in the not exactly like this in the comics. And the animated series, obviously, where Bullock really became a major guy. Bullock is the kind of guy who is like lazy, sloppy kind of guy. But in this show, what they've done is
completely his own.
Yeah, they've elevated it to the fact that he is a voice of reason. Very, very true. Mm-hmm. And he's kind of like Foggy.
Exactly. He's like just a great sidekick who I think very much could have his own like maybe 10-episode miniseries sort of thing. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I would love to see that.
He's great. Yeah.
I would not mind at all if Gordon is not in a good chunk of season 3.
I think, this is how I even see it though. I mean, like, this is the only, and this is how I've been trying to reconcile it in my head. It's like, how is Gordon going, like, very much akin to how is Xavier going to lose his hair? It's like, how is he going to get the mustache? Okay, and I feel like he's going to be imprisoned somewhere on an island somewhere, very Robinson Crusoe. He's going to...
Gordon? Yeah, be imprisoned somewhere.
Yeah, somewhere where he's going to beard out, or where he's going to go away for a long time and come back with a big, long beard and, like, scruffy looking and everything, and when he has to finally come back...
He'll only shave some of it.
Yeah. That's the way I see it's going to happen. But, like, I thought that was going to happen in the end of the season, which is kind of what it's going towards. Like, he's left to kind of go and find Lee.
So that's the thing. Like, he could be gone for a while, and he could very well come back with, and probably will come back with a different look of some sort. But I also feel like the mustache might be an end of show kind of thing.
Maybe, yeah. It's good enough for end of show.
Because end of show, what's likely to happen, or like one of the safest
Batman
bets,
has to leave. See, Bruce has to leave.
Bruce has got to go away.
Yeah.
Alfred needs to become like beat up and old and frail.
Yeah.
And Gordon has to grow the stash.
Yeah, the stash, yeah. This is true. This is true.
Once that happens, that's your visual cue.
That's where Falcone and like all these guys have to kind of become like and stay in power. Actually be in power.
Yeah.
The other thing is like, what did you think of this of the Hugo Strange kind of arc? I don't know. To say it was strange, obviously.
It was very interesting. There were definitely some moments where I really, really liked it because I really like B.D. Wong in general. I've always
he's
been
cool,
a
yeah,
fan
and he's
of
a
his.
perfect
He's got a brilliant voice.
Yeah.
It's scary, like how on top of the whole like delivering one word
exactly
and making that
he's owning that
sound.
Stuff. Yeah.
Like just doing that, he does it
creepy
so well.
As hell. Yeah,
he does
great.
it really well. I don't know. Like I said, I love the aesthetic that this show has, and his world, the Arkham Asylum, is such a neat, puzzle that the Riddler has to work out, and like it's just got a great vibe about it. So I think I might like his scenario and his world more than I like him.
Yeah.
Because I will say that the very last episode where the whole bomb thing happens and Gordon confronts him and he starts like crying and he's like, I don't know, and like he shows how weak he is because he's never fought anybody, he's never gone in hand-to-hand combat.
He's not a hand-to-hand combat villain. Yeah. He's a player. He's a strategist.
And neither is the Riddler. The Riddler is always like the minute you get your hands on the Riddler, you've won.
Yeah.
Right. So the Riddler's whole thing is to be behind glass and to keep you at bay and keep you trapped. Likewise, that's what Strange does. But I feel like since, like we said, Strange was sort of a second half of the season sort of thing. He sort of came up at the same time as the Riddler.
Yeah.
Because the first half was about the Penguin and Gallavan, and those two were sort of in the wings. Yeah. And then when the baton was passed, when Gallavan died and these guys came into power, I think the setup for them didn't give them enough time to come into their own.
I feel like they should have had Hugo Strange kind of like right from the start. Like, you know, if you have crazy villains, they're going to go to Arkham. And you should have seen like Hugo Strange like kind of continue being Hugo Strange, just like, the psychotherapist at Arkham. Yeah. And then until where his hand has to, you have to draw his hand. Like, and then he has to kind of do something, or he's already got this plan in place and things like that. There were other like couple of villains in the season. Firefly was there, which was cool to see. It's the first time I've had a female Firefly, so that was interesting.
I just guess my problem with Strange is that he wasn't grounded. Yeah. The Riddler had a whole season on his side.
Amazing.
For us to get to know him.
I really like the Riddler, yeah.
I am head over heels for this guy. Yeah. I love him so much. I like him more than I like Jim Carrey. I like this guy. Yeah. He's my favorite.
Yeah, Jim Carrey was kind of playing the Joker as the Riddler.
I really, really like this duo. Like, every scene where they had their roommate stuff between Penguin and Riddler just made my day.
Yeah,
so I cannot wait to get more of the Riddler. B.D. Wong, on the other hand, he's got a lot of cool moves and he's got great scenes, but I'm not with him 100%. Because I just feel like I haven't got to know the guy. And like all the backstory that comes about like how he was BFFs with Tom Wayne is all, hearsay, incidental, like, hey, we found this random picture of you in like a cricket uniform.
Yeah, I know, right? Just like, they're playing cricket.
I was like, okay, cool.
The philosopher.
I guess you guys are like really tight and now you feel betrayed. That's what you tell me, but I don't know why I believe you.
That's the other thing though. Like, I feel the fact that, Thomas Wayne and Martha Wayne's murderer, that was fine. Okay, you can find the guy. Yeah. But, it should have been one of those shows where they were killed for no reason. They were just killed.
Yeah.
And like, I think that was like a miss up. They had to make it part of a plot, so they give like Bruce like a thing to go and figure out. Yeah. Like, I hope he reaches like the end of all this, searching, and he finds that it was just an act of randomness, and that's how violent and weird and disturbed Gotham is, and that's why it requires like somebody like Batman.
That would be great because that's what everybody's telling him.
Yeah, everyone is telling him. Lucius Fox is there.
The good guys and the bad guys.
Yeah, everyone is.
Everybody who's with him and against him are all saying like,
give it up.
Maybe it was just a dude that wanted to kill somebody.
Yeah, and he needs to because everyone is looking for like reasons. Everyone's trying to find meaning in everything. Yeah. And the fact that Bruce is so committed to this, which is good, it works well for the show because like it gives him that purpose, that he will never stop until he finds something.
He's an addict.
And then he's an addict. And then when he can't find something, he's going to create something new and create something new and create something new. Yeah. It's like this one line in Batman Forever where Val Kilmer is telling Chris O'Donnell, he's like, what happens when you get Two-Face? He's like, you'll find that, you'll put him away, but then you'll wake up to another face, and then you'll find another face, and then find another face. And I was just like, that's great. Like, that's exactly what Gotham City is. It's like an unending kind of thing of villains just outpouring and just for people to... Like, Batman will never stop everybody.
Yeah, it's the Tony Stark line from, I think, Avengers 2? Or either Civil War or Avengers 2. He's like, isn't the point of all this so that we can end the fight?
Yeah, so we can go home.
Yeah. Like, true. And Batman never seemed... He doesn't have that agenda.
He doesn't get that point.
He's like, I'm just going to keep beating people up. That's
because without that, what is his purpose? Which is now a good segue. I just want to talk about this. So just as an end,
sure.
Batman the Telltale series game is out on the 2nd of August. And that's the first game we're going to get which kind of dives into the psyche of Bruce Wayne as opposed to Batman. You can choose to operate a situation as Bruce Wayne or as Batman, and it's really, really interesting. So, and the first episode is out on the 2nd of August, so I'm really looking forward to that.
Cute.
On that note, Gotham, final thoughts. Anything cool? Are you looking forward to season 3? I am.
Very much. When's it out? Is it this year or
fall,
next year?
In the fall. It's coming out in September or October, something like that. Which is like literally a month and a half away.
Yeah. All I'll say, if you have not seen the show in its entirety yet, and you do plan on getting caught up with it by the time season 3 comes around, maybe this is not the show to binge. I think this is the kind of show you want to watch weekly.
Yeah.
Because
I agree.
You'll either be because I feel like this is the kind of show that's it's been very inconsistent. It's been better obviously with the second season, but there's still no guarantee that it'll be consistent. And I feel like when you've wasted 44 minutes watching an episode, and if you binge and then you've wasted like 90 minutes or 3 hours watching 3 episodes or something like that, and it's not good, you feel pretty crappy. If you wasted 3 hours and you don't feel satisfied, it's like
towards the end of the season.
Yeah. So I would say don't binge watch Gotham.
I did binge watch the first half, and that was fine.
I did. I did too.
Again, there's like a proper story going on there, but like everything else just felt like.
But it's also not a good feeling to like abandon a show and come back to it, because then
no, I agree.
you've lost your own momentum.
Take your time with it. Take your time.
Take it. Yeah, be consistent with it.
Like how I'm doing Breaking Bad. Waited for the hype to get over. Now I'm watching it. Okay, cool.
The time will come where I will not see you for about a month.
No, it's fine. I'm doing pretty well. Like I'm doing an episode a day.
It gets better.
So that's cool. Yeah.
It gets better.
Yeah, of course. I'm sure it will. Yeah. On that note, you can find us on geekfruit.in. We have a bunch of articles there, and we keep our episodes updated. For all information, you can find us there. You can contact us there as well. Contact us at contactgeekfruit@gmail.com. That's our email address for all your feedback. And you can find us on social media at geekfruithq.
Yeah. You can tag us as well on our thingies.
Yeah.
We should tell people about those, because invariably we end up doing stuff with that as well.
Okay, cool. Yeah. So Jishnu and I on Twitter.
Yeah, I barely end up checking the Geek Fruit.
What's your handle, Jishnu?
I'm on just at Jishnu Guha, and Tejas is just at Tejas Menon.
Yep.
Right?
Yes.
Yeah. So hit us up, and we will slap your hand back,
hit you back.
In an appropriate high five fashion.
Yes.
Non-threatening, and not too fast, because that might hurt. So.
Really?
Just a slow, like a gentle high five.
What do you think of your high fives?
I mean, it might hurt me.
Oh.
Like impact, like some high fives hurt. Yeah, they're not fun.
This is true.
So like not overdoing it.
Like an Adventure Time high five. All right, cool. We're done with the show. May the force be with you. Bye.
You nerds.
While there are many actors in Bollywood, there are some who stand out every single time, sometimes just stealing the show from the main actors. I'm talking about actors like Satish Kaushik, Ranveer Shore, Gulshan Grover, all great. And you can listen to them talk about their stories on Bollywood Scene Stealers with Indu Mirani. New episodes out every Monday on iTunes, Stitcher, or the IVM app, which is my personal favorite podcast app.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is your captain speaking. Sorry to say, but there's been a slight delay due to the apocalypse having suddenly begun. As you can see, there's death, destruction, and chaos taking place all around us. But don't you worry, food and drinks will be served shortly, and I would recommend checking out
IVM Podcasts
to get some of your favorite Indian podcasts. We'll keep you going till this whole thing blows over. Thank you.